12. The Bermuda Sea. The Bermuda Sea? I ask again. As in, the one where sailors have never returned from? The one that's in the Atlantic Ocean? But I thought it's called the Bermuda Triangle. Dabbling says, yes, this sea was named after the Bermuda Triangle in your world. It's filled with kelpies, krakens, sirens, and the only place where aqua horses live. But there isn't a lot of information about what else lives here. It's so rare for someone to go into the sea, and even rarer to be fortunate enough to tell the tale. I gulp as he goes on. In the Bermuda Sea, the wind is so bad that you can't even fly, but I know how to get across it. He explains his plan. This is between us, all right? No one is supposed to know, but there are a few rocks that can form a path across the sea. But at times, the rocks can be very far apart from each other, so we need someone who knows how to swim. The others will step inside the marble, the one where Nikki and the foals are, vacationing. How did you find out about the rocks? I ask. Well, when Farmer Adele caught us, and you were in the attic, I heard Queen Elenia saying it to Lilac, he explains sheepishly. I think you should go, Laura, Evelyn says to me. You should. You're older, I argue. But we're equally bad at swimming, she quarrels. We play rock, paper, scissors, and she wins, so I have to go face the sea. Great. Once they're inside the marble, I step carefully onto the nearest rock. Dappling has already told me where to look for the rocks, so I have an imaginary map planted in my head. The next rock is pretty far away. I jump as far as I can. I barely land on the huge rock. I try to get to my feet, but a huge wave crashes over me. I cling onto the rock and try not to drown at the same time. My clothes are completely drenched by now. After that wave leaves, another one comes. Then another. A fourth wave, 10 feet tall, comes closer and closer to me. Just when it's about to crash over me, it evaporates. I look around. What just happened? Then realization dawns on me. Have I done this? I had a subconscious thought. I'd wished for the wave to evaporate. I'd meant evaporate as in never even exist, but this way's fine too. I smile to myself. Anything works for me, as long as I do not drown. As the shock of the vaporized wave slowly fades, I realize all of the possibilities that I can achieve with this new ability. Crossing the sea seems like an effortless task now. 15 minutes later, I'm in the middle of a small herd of migrating krakens, only about 5 or 6. But still, there are krakens. I start shaking uncontrollably, frightened, half wishing I could evaporate like that fourth wave. The leader glowers at me. I'm uncomfortably aware of how he could eat me in one bite. He turns to the rest of the krakens and talks to them in a weird language. It seems to be a single signal to eat me, because half the herd is chasing me now. I freeze. Not literally, but I'm so scared that I cannot even move. When I think of something, then I think of something. If my new power works on water, why can't it work on krakens? It's worth a try. I concentrate on the nearest kraken. Evaporate. Vaporize. Evaporate. Vaporize. Vaporize now. Still not working. Why can't it evaporate? Think of another plan, Laura. Too late. The kraken is a foot away, getting closer every second. I am doomed. 2 inches away from my face, the kraken disappears. Like, actually disappears. I vaporized it. The other krakens back off immediately. I barely remember the rest of the swim because I'm too busy wondering about my new power. Soon I'm on the shore. Chapter 13. Nikki is lost. I walk a bit and soon reach a forest. I decide to let Evelyn and Dappling out of the marble. They're panicked and out of breath. Nikki found a way out of the marble. She's gone, Evelyn exclaims. What? I knew Nikki would get bored staying inside the marble while we were trying to have all the action, but I did not think she would try to escape. Before anyone can explain what exactly happened, words appear in the air. Letters made of mist. I read the text aloud. I'm not gone. Suddenly, someone hurls a mist ball at me from behind a tree, and a rush of events envelops me. The mist ball gives me a vision of what Nikki was up to. Nikki escapes through a hole in the marble. Nikki finds herself outside a palace made of water. Nikki befriends the aqua horses. The aqua horses give Allura the power to vaporize and Nikki the power to condense, but only for a brief span. Aha! That's how I got the incredible power, which saved my life from both the sea and the krakens. The tide of memories goes on and on. After what seems like forever, the memories stop. The force comes back into focus again. Nikki comes out from behind the tree. She's here! With the powers that the aqua horses bestowed upon her, she must have condensed all her memories into that mist ball. Why did you leave? I asked her. That marble had all the luxuries in the world, right? Well, it got really boring in there after a while, Nikki complains. I found a small hole behind the garden, and I went into it. It led to the Aqua Horse Palace, and then... Dappling interrupts. Wait, you went to the Aqua Horse Palace? But the Aqua Horses are dangerous. They drown travelers. I guess only I saw her memories, so the others don't know where she had been yet. That's just a myth the horses spread to scare people off, so that they can be left in peace. Before this tall tale, millions of people came from across the world to get a wish, Nikki says impatiently. So they took me to the queen, Queen Mist, and when she found out that I was in the prophecy, she insisted I should be back on the mission. She also offered the aqua horses to help us fight the wasp and gave me this whistle. She shows a pale blue whistle, decorated with bits of coral. If I ever need the aqua horses, I just need to blow this, and a bunch of them will show up to help. Wait, what was it you mentioned about humans? They get a wish? Aqua horses can grant wishes? I ask, confused. Yeah, aqua horses can send people to the wishing tree. Even though people have to pass the hardest maze in the world, millions take that risk every year. Why didn't you tell us earlier? I demand. That will be an easier route than going through Desert Monster Island, the Kingdom of Lies, Evil Dragon Island, Flame Kingdom, and Doom Island. Nikki looks at me seriously. I didn't know until now. The aqua horses told me about this route, but if you fail the maze, you'll be teleported into the Wasp's headquarters. And the maze is not easy to cross either. It's full of obstacles that could harm you permanently. We could also be permanently harmed if we go through the evil kingdoms, I point out. True, Dapplewing agrees. I think you should go to the aqua horses. Maybe they can help you through the maze, because you're trying to stop the wasp. They're trying to stop him too, aren't they? What do you mean by you? You're not coming? I ask. Sorry, but I want to be with Honeywing and take care of her. I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm cut out for this mission, Dapplewing says sadly. Oh, maybe he's right. Dapplewing should go back to Honeywing. I quickly agreed that we should seek help from the aqua horses. I'm not so excited though, because to visit the aqua horses, we'll have to cross the Bermuda Triangle again. That's not even the bad part. Whenever we come across the kraken herd, they will not be happy. That is a fact. Chapter 14, The Aqua Horse Palace. We're back at the shore. Nikki tells us to cover our ears, so we do. She blows a whistle, and a high-pitched sound leaves a ringing in my ears. Huh, why did you have to blow it so hard, I ask. Sorry, but they might not hear me, Nikki explains sheepishly. They? Who are they? As an answer to my thought, 5 aqua horses gallop towards her. I reach to touch one of them, but my hand slips into the water. Wow, are the aqua horses really made of water? This is so cool, but I don't see how they can help us. I mean, if they're made of water, we can't ride on them. That thought completely wipes away when Nikki leaps onto one of the horses and he instantly turns into ice. At first, it seems as if Nikki has frozen onto the horse. It seems as if Nikki has frozen the horse, but then the horse starts moving. Nikki looks at her astonished faces. Well, she asks, aren't you getting on a horse? Don't worry, they freeze themselves immediately when you try to ride on them. The aqua horses can move fast. I mean really fast. Once we're all ready for the ride, the aqua horses gallop on the water. They can run on water! I'm getting more and more amazed by the second. In around 15 minutes, we're at the palace made of water. The palace is decorated with seashells and coral. This is where all the horses of this herd live, Nikki says. There's supposed to be around 50, but a third of them have gone missing, thanks to the wasp, she adds. We go to the palace gates. Nikki, the guard horse warmly. I see you have company. Should I alert the queen? I'm so surprised to see the guard talk that I miss Nikki's small introduction about us. Although the horses that brought us to the palace might have been talking as well, I was too busy marveling at their speed all along the way. We would like a private meeting with the Queen, if you don't mind, Nikki says. Of course not, he politely answers. When would you want it? As soon as possible, she replies. Well, it's your lucky day. You can all go to the Queen right now if you'd like. She's free at the moment. I can escort you there, the god says. The throne room reminds me of the one at Queen Elenia's, in the Palace of Hearts, except this one it has decorations related to the sea, not hearts. Hello, the Queen says. I am Queen Mist. Evelyn and I briefly introduce ourselves. Is there something you need here? The Queen asks. It's Nikki who answers. We need to go through the maze. It's the best way to get to the wishing tree and to stop the wasp. Are you sure? Queen Mist says, concerned. The maze is not ideal for children, and none of you are over 15. I can go, Evelyn protests. I'm almost 13. Even the most experienced people have a hard time getting through the maze, Queen Mist says. And, she adds, all of them are 3 times your age or more. We have to go, I say. It's the best way to stop the wasp before he ruins the entire world. Besides, we're part of the prophecy. We need to stop the wasp. The Queen sighs. I see that I'm not going to win this argument. You can go through the maze. But I can only pray that you don't get stuck in the wasp's lair. But, she says, brightening up a little, we can help a bit. You can each have a chance to try the maze, and if you don't reach the end in 2 hours, instead of going to the wasp's lair, you'll just land back here. Can we start the journey through the maze now? Nikki asks eagerly. Sure, the Queen says. You can go first if you like. Chapter 15. Solve the Maze. As Nikki enters into the maze, Queen Mist hands me and Evelyn a pair of glasses. I tell her I do not need them, but she laughs and tells me to put them on. She adds, if you're lost inside the maze, look around for obstacles, because that's how you know if you're on the right track or not. They only show up when you choose the correct path. Although the hurdles will cause delays and try to stop you from finishing the maze, those are actually the tests. Unless you pass them, you cannot complete the maze. I put on the glasses. I'm curious to know why Queen Mist thinks I need them. Oh, I experienced the maze through Nikki's eyes. I see Queen Mist enter the maze, turn on the timer, and then comes back to us. Nikki hears the sound of animals. Wow, I can even hear what's happening inside the maze. Nikki quickly avoids the animals. Twice she meets a dead end. She follows the last path and meets a sphinx. The sphinx says, answer my riddle correctly in 10 minutes, or else you'll stay here forever. So, this is an obstacle that the Queen was mentioning earlier. It's a good sign. It means Nikki is on the right path. The sphinx shares the riddle. You measure my life in hours, and I serve you by expiring. I'm quick when I'm thin and slow when I'm fat. The wind is my enemy. What am I? I feel sorry for my sister. She has never been good at riddles. Since I'm the best at them, I already know the answer. A candle. 10 minutes pass and Nikki has still not found the answer. You have not answered the riddle, the sphinx says. A minute later, Nikki is back here. Her head is drooping. I can tell she's sad. The riddle was hard for us to figure out, too, Evelyn comforts her, lying. She knows that I obviously got the answer. I'll go next, Evelyn claims. She hands over her glasses to Nikki and goes inside the maze. I put my glasses back on. I see Evelyn following the same path as Nikki. She knows that she has to find the phoenix. Suddenly, the path starts moving and the paths switch around. The path Evelyn is on forks into 2 paths. She chooses the right path. The phoenix is there again. The phoenix gives Evelyn the easiest riddle ever. How many letters are in the alphabet? And then sets the timer. The answer is 26, obviously. But when I study the riddle a bit more, I highlight something. What if the riddle is actually how many letters are in the words the alphabet, not how many letters are in the English alphabet? In that case, the answer would be 11. I hope Evelyn's not tricked. Evelyn quickly answers, 26. The phoenix shakes his head. Wrong. A moment later, Evelyn is back here. Now it's my turn. Evelyn and Nikki have both failed. If I fail too, the complete mission will crumble. I really should not have waited to go last. I hand my glasses to Evelyn and go inside the maze. I run down the same path Evelyn took before the maze decides to turn itself around. Soon I reach the fork in the path, but instead of going right, I go left. The park forks into 3 other paths. I just randomly choose one. Again, this one forks into 3 paths. But now I'm thinking of going back to choose a different track. But I soon realize I'm lost. Just to make things worse, the maze starts moving again. It feels like being on a roller coaster. When it stops, I realize that 2 of the paths have turned into walls, so I easily pick up the 3rd path. I head forward and, lucky for me, the phoenix is right there, waiting. It means I'm on the right track. The phoenix gives me a riddle. A girl has as many brothers as sisters, but each brother has only half as many brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in a family? Really? After giving my sisters the easiest riddles possible, this phoenix gives me a riddle I cannot even process in my brain? Can you repeat that a few times? I ask. I soon memorize the riddle. It's actually pretty easy once I figure out the question. The trick to finding the answer is random guessing until I have a match. I don't normally do that, but for riddles like these, it's my best option. The phoenix sets the timer. I start trying the riddle with different combinations of digits. 1, 2, 3. I got it! 3 brothers and 4 sisters, I say before my time is even half over. Correct, the phoenix says and gives me a small compass. For passing the riddle, this is your reward, she explains. If you get lost in the maze, it will guide you the right way. I leave, happy that I've completed the first part of the maze. I continue walking straight ahead. Soon there's a fork in the path, and I go left and I see a wide river flowing. Am I supposed to swim across it somehow? I do not think that is it. It would be too easy for people who are good swimmers. Maybe there's some sort of beast down there which might stop me from crossing the river. This is bad for people who are not good at swimming like me. Oh well, here goes nothing. I'm about to jump into the river when I see a raft. That is convenient. But again, it seems too easy. Well, it's a better idea than trying to swim for someone as hopeless at swimming as me. I get onto the raft and push it. It easily flows down the river. But wait, the raft is gaining humongous speed, and it keeps moving faster and faster as I go further into the river. Oh no, up ahead are the rapids. I could just stop the raft and then go along the edge of the maze where the water's shallower. Then I realized something. I completely forgot about the oars. Really? It seems like I'm going to be stuck on this raft. Not the best place to be without oars when directly up ahead there's a huge rock waiting for me to crash into it. Luck must be on my side today. The maze starts to shift again, but this time it's in my favor. It's changing the formation of the rocks. The huge rock shifts to my left, just enough to let me pass. The rapids subside and the waters are calm, letting me traverse easily. After 10 minutes of peace, I realize something good, something bad, and something terrible. The good part? There are no rocks in this part of the river. The bad part? There's a huge whirlpool, around 50 meters away. The worst part? It's already pulling me in. Chapter 16, Luno, the Moon Dragon. I try to stop the boat, but with no oars, it's nearly impossible. The whirlpool comes closer and closer. I do not want to fail now, after overcoming so many hurdles. As I get closer to it, I notice that it's not as humongous as I thought. If I could get close enough, I could jump across it and swim the rest of the way. It's not likely that my plan will work, but it's better than nothing. Soon I'm at the edge of the whirlpool. My plan better work, because if it does not, I'm not sure whether I will be drowned or be sent back to the Aqua Palace. Although the Queen assured us that we'd not be teleported to the Wasp lair, I would rather be safe than sorry. None of the failure outcome seems appealing. I have to overcome this hurdle. I'm nearly a quarter into the huge whirlpool. Water crashes over my boat, trying to make it to the depths of the river. With the roar of the whirlpool, it's hard to hear anything, but I can clearly hear my heart pounding. The time by now I'm having a hard time staying on the raft. Forget about getting up to jump off it, but I have to do it. I shakily stand up and then take a gigantic leap. The raft has not even made it past the outer circle of the whirlpool. Glad that I jumped out of it, but I overestimated myself. Swimming in these turbulent waters is no joke. My arms are flailing all over the place, trying to carry me across the river, with no success. As a wave of water crashes over my head, I splutter for air. This is bad, really bad. We're on the verge of drowning. I should have paid more attention during swimming lessons. That's the last thing I remember when suddenly I lose all conscious thoughts. I wake up to dim light and lots of books. Lots and lots of books. There's a gigantic dragon in front of me. Wait, there's a huge dragon in front of me. The dragon is grayish silver and has dark spots all along him, like the moon. Hello, the dragon says. I just stare at him. Is he a moon dragon? It looks like the one I saw in the book that I stole from Handel. I'm a moon dragon, he says. And yes, I can read minds, he adds. What? I quickly move away from him. What sort of powers does his kind have? They can read minds. I'm trying to remember the part of the book that mentioned the moon dragons. Didn't it say that moon dragons were enemies? I'm not evil, and I don't have any other powers, the dragon says in reply to my thoughts. I cannot let him read my mind. Think about something random, Alora, I tell myself. My mind latches onto books, and I start thinking about every single book I've ever read. You don't need to hide all of your thoughts from me, he says, amused. Then why are you probing into my thoughts? I ask him, still not convinced. He's probably just lying. I mean, the book said that moon dragons were hostile. He sighs irritably, probably reading my thoughts again. It's not my fault that over half of all the dragons in the world are friendly to humans. So what if moon dragons and fire dragons prefer not to have humans in their territories all the time? We've never harmed humans, he argues. And as for the books about moon dragons, they're all from authors who have tried to come into our territories and question our abilities. Naturally, they are refused answers. Makes us look unfriendly, and most of the authors exaggerate our unfriendliness. Is he telling the truth, or is it a lie? I think it's true, but I have one more question for him. Why are you here? I ask. I'm here because I was chosen by the aqua horses to test anyone who makes it past to the last part of the maze, he answers. Wait, I'm at the last part of the maze? Hooray! I hope that this part of the maze is not too scary. You never know, it could be a French tester skating. Not likely, but I'm hoping for the best. Do you like being here, doing this work? I ask him. It's fun, says the dragon. My name's Luno, he adds, and if you feel well enough, you can start the test, but I don't recommend trying it so soon after almost drowning. After all, you're going to have to escape a locked room. What? I do not know how to escape a locked room. I look at Luno, and there's a hopeful expression on his face. I can tell he wants me to stay and have some fun with him, but then I recall what the Queen says. I'm sorry, but the Queen said I had to complete the maze in 2 hours, so I can't waste time, I say regretfully. The timer is paused after every section of the maze, and it is turned back on only when you're ready to continue, Luno explains. Okay, in that case, I will stay for a while. I start enjoying Luno's company so much that I spend a couple of hours not even worrying about escaping the room. Luno's home is amazing. He just has to push a button and the room instantly changes. It can change into a bedroom, guest room, library, pool, dining room, skating rink, backyard, or kitchen. I spend most of my time in the library. After some time, Luno tells me, you can't stay here over 5 hours. In a few hours, you'll have to escape the room. I spend some time thinking about how to escape a locked room. With no luck, I go to the library and see if there are any books on how to escape a locked room, but that seems to be the only subject that is not in the library. I want to keep looking for options on how to escape, but I feel extremely drowsy. So in a matter of seconds, I crash on the guest couch. When I wake up, I'm not in the guest room anymore. I'm in another room which is made of glass and steel. There are bars on the windows, and I know instantly that this is the room I'll have to escape from. Inside the room, there's a table, and on it is an hourglass. Great. I have a time limit on top of this. As I get closer, I see a clue. It says, the thousandth digit is the hundredth digit multiplied by 2. The hundredth digit is 9 divided by the tens digit. The tens digit is the luckiest number plus 2. The ones digit is the unluckiest number minus 8. Okay, I need to find out the number. Well, the unluckiest number is 13. 13 minus 8 is 5. I neatly write 5 on the sheet of paper. The luckiest number is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. I write 9 on the paper, ahead of the number 5. 9 divided by 9 is 1. I write that on the paper. 1 multiplied by 2 is 2. The answer is 2,195, I say aloud. Then I go see if the door is unlocked. It's not. Then I see a combination lock. I did not know they existed here. At least it's obvious what to do. I quickly type in 2195. It does the trick. The door unlocks and Luno enters. Congratulations, he says. You're now free to go to the wishing tree. In half an hour, you'll be teleported back to the palace. Then the Aqua Horse Queen will take you to the wishing tree. Can I spend the rest of the time in your library? I plead. Sure, he says. I think of what to ask the wishing tree, but whatever I ask, it cannot have any loopholes, or the wasp might find a way around it. If I ask something like, stop the wasp's powers, the wishing tree might stop his powers, but not stop him from causing trouble. I think for about 20 minutes what's the best phrase to use. When I make the wish, then I'm still not sure. Then I wonder if you can have more than one wish. If so, I would probably ask for a library in my house. A few minutes before I'm scheduled to leave, Luno comes in and asks, can I see the book about moon dragons? I give him the book and he opens the chapter on dragons. There's a few pages on moon dragons and fire dragons. He reads it and looks at the book title. The author is Orlando Santine. He hasn't liked moon dragons ever since he didn't get answers to all his questions. Moon dragons like keeping their privacy. Is there anyone who knows the truth about moon dragons other than me? I ask. One person, Luno says. His name was Handel. He didn't come to write a book on us. He just came out of curiosity. Handel? He was really mad at me after I stole this book, I exclaimed. You stole this book? Luno is shocked. More like forcefully borrowed it, I say, and tell him everything. So you're basically in big trouble for something you didn't even do? Because this is not the Book of Truth, he says when I'm done. Yeah, I say ruefully. Well, anyways, it's time for you to go, he says. A huge metal vessel comes into view. When I stare at it in confusion, Luno tells me to get inside. When I get to the Palace of Hearts, I'll tell Queen Elenia the truth about moon dragons. Maybe she can convince the author to fix this book. Bye for now, I say to him. Bye, he calls back. The Aqua Horse Palace in 25 minutes, the metal vessel talks robotically. Chapter 17, The Wasp's Lair. I spend the ride reading my book. There's a chapter on Oglai. The first page is about the wasp. In the corner of the page is a small note. Subsaharial retinifioid irad. Just for the fun of it, I read it aloud. Subsaharial retinifioid irad. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, though. I wonder why someone would write that. Maybe it's a code. Maybe you have to read it backwards or with the long pause. I give it a try, reading each word backwards. Wasp's lair. Enter if you. I feel something is pulling me, so I stop reading. But it's still pulling me harder and harder and harder until I'm no longer inside the vessel. I'm inside a basement with lots of other creatures, fairies mostly, but I see centaurs, the missing aqua horses, and mermaids. The fairies are in cages, the centaurs are tied up with strong chains, and the mermaid and aqua horses are locked up inside half-filled water tanks. I do not know where I am exactly, but I have a guess. And I really hope I'm wrong. What was that noise? Asked a voice from above. I recognize this voice. It's the same eerie voice that my mom used after the wasp showed up at our house and took control of my parents' minds. Hide, says the centaur. We're cover for you. I quickly go hide inside a box, just like the day when we got here. Who knows how long we've been here since then? A person comes down the stairs. Who was that? Tell me now, he demands. I accidentally hit the wall, says the centaur who told me to hide. The person does not leave. It was very loud. Yes, it was, the centaur says breezily. I must have more strength than I realize. Centaurs, always causing trouble, he says rudely as he leaves. I get out of the box. My name is Corix, he says. Why are you here? This is not a good place for kids to wander around. This book got me in here, I explained. After I read Wasp's Lair, Enter If You Dare, I was mysteriously transported here. That's what happened to me, says a fairy. I was visiting Queen Elenia's palace when I found that book. As soon as I read part of the sentence, I was teleported here. Then someone came from upstairs and put me in this cage. How do you have that book anyway? Asks the mermaid. I kind of stole it, I say, and then explain everything, as I did to Luno. Everyone's lost for words by the time I'm done talking. You and your sisters did all of that? Says Corix incredulously. I nod. Wow, says the fairy faintly. I wonder, says an aqua horse, if you say the spell the other way around, would it get you where you were before? That could work, I exclaim, delighted. And if it does, we could also set free all the spirits and council members who are trapped inside the captive book. Which book? I ask, confused. Does he mean the book that we saw in the Spirit Kingdom while we were peeking through the portal? Of course you don't know about that, said the fairy. Well, it's a pretty long story, so you should get as comfortable as you can in here. The council members have powers we can't even imagine. She was the first council member to be ambushed by the wasp, while she was helping a herd of elephants who didn't have water for days. As she was returning, the wasp captured her. The rest of the council members, including the chief, were picked off one by one from within their council room. Actually, I witnessed a part of this, but how did you find this out? I asked curiously. Because the wasps likes to scream his triumphs from the top of the mountain, says the mermaid wryly. Would anyone mind listening to the story? Asks a slightly annoyed fairy as she shifts around in her cage. We're all silent. The wasp wanted to get to the wishing tree. The spirit kingdom knew the reason and will not allow it. So, what does he want from the wishing tree? I interrupt. No idea, says the fairy, and continues the story. When the wasp tried to use his mind control over the spirits and the council members, he was not able to, so he decided to trap them in the book. Every single one of them. As I open my mouth to ask about this book, the fairy says, I'm getting to that. The captive book is an ancient object. With the right spells, it can hold anything within it. It's been in the Royal Museum for centuries, until the wasp stole it. Okay, I get that all now. So let's see if your plan works, I say, nodding to the aqua horse. I start chanting in front of a fairy's cage. Sepsarayo retni fi irad. I hear a whooshing sound. In a flash, the fairy and I are in the fairy palace. Thank you, says the fairy. She flicks her wand, the cage crumbles down, and she flies away. It works, I say the enchantment. Wasp's Lair, enter if you dare, and I'm back at the Wasp's Lair. Wow, says Corix. You and the fairy just disappeared into thin air. We need to go quickly. The brainwashed people might come down any time, I say. Everyone form into groups. One group of centaurs, one group of fairies, one group of aqua horses, one group of mermaids. That's when we face our first dilemma. As soon as we open the mermaids and aqua horses' tanks, a gush of water completely drenches us. Now my wings are so wet. How will I fly? A fairy complains. Never mind that. I'll start with the aqua horses. Your wings will dry up by then, I say impatiently. I say the spell, drop off the creature I'm with, and come back to the lair. Soon time for the mermaid's turn. That trip is pretty challenging. I end up in extremely deep water. Thank goodness the mermaids helped me make it back to the surface in time. I don't really like almost drowning twice in one day. Finally, I look around and only Corix is left. When you get back here after dropping me in my forest, remember to get the spirits and council members from within the book, he reminds me. How? I ask. There's a tunnel over there. He points at a box that is most likely covering the tunnel. I saw one of the Wasp's followers going into the tunnel and reappearing with a spirit. The Wasp wanted to try one last time to mind control over the spirits. Fortunately, he was not successful. That's how I know the entrance to the book. Help them escape quickly because the Wasp's followers will come to check in about, he looks at his watch, an hour. Here, you can take this watch so that you can tell how much time you have left. They come at 12 o'clock. He gives me his watch. It's dark purple and there's little stars on it. Thank you, I say, and quickly take him back to his forest before I head inside the tunnel. Chapter 18. Inside the Captive Book. All I see is black inside the tunnel. I walk for must be a millennium until finally I see the fuzzy outline of a spirit. Ah! I'm not used to seeing spirits wandering around. Luckily, my scream does not cross the tunnel to reach the rude person at the Wasp's lair. That person is probably being controlled by the Wasp, and I would not like to meet him again. On the other hand, in here, only a handful of spirits did not wake up from my scream. One spirit asks sleepily, "What are you doing here?" After scanning the room a few times, I realized that there are also some, I do not know what to call them. I would say that they were people, but one of them has fire for hair, another is as transparent as water, yet another looks like he is made of rocks, and the being beside it is just floating above the ground. The creature that surprises me most is someone with all these features together. His fire for hair, limbs made of multicolored rocks, can fly, yes, fly very high, and parts of him are transparent. These attributes do not really qualify for good looks. In fact, he looks quite scary, but he seems to be the one in charge, so I go up and speak to him. I half expect him to laugh at me and say it's impossible. Instead, he looks at a map and says, "I'll call everyone to you and you can explain your plan." It seems to be the same map that we had seen through the portal in the council hall. Surprisingly, after I explain how I can help them, the spirits start clamoring to be first in line. The council members, however, wait patiently for their turn. But now I know the weird beings are, in fact, the council members. I think their scary features are what makes them so powerful. Glad we saw them hazy last time through the portal, else our vision would have been worse than a nightmare. I start chanting the spell. Subsa Ryle Retni Fi Uoi Irad. Each time I say the incantation, a dozen spirits get transported back to their kingdom. It takes me a while to get the whole spirit population back to their kingdom. And so after I'm done with all the spirits, the council members in charge say, "I'm the chief. I think you're wondering why I believed you earlier. This is the map of hope. It tracks heroes as stars. And the brighter the star, the more promising the hero. When you came in here, I noticed a bright star coming closer and closer. So I knew you were coming here for a rescue. Your star is dazzling. I've no doubt that you will defeat the Wasp." "Thank you," I say. I wish I felt as confident about the Wasp. I quickly take the council members back to their council room. After I'm done helping them, I look at my new watch. It says 12:02. I better get out of here quickly. The Wasp's followers were due a few minutes ago, probably wondering why there isn't anyone in the basement. This means that they're probably coming in here next, which means I should get going. Now. I start the spell. Subside Rail Retni. I break off. Someone is here. A man crashes in. I quickly say the rest of the spell. Rad. The man latches himself onto me, and as I finish the spell, the next thing I know, I'm back in the metal vessel. But unfortunately, the man is next to me. Chapter 19. Meeting him. I instinctively go as far away from the man as I can. No, he's not a man. He looks, let's just leave it at super weird. He says, "You know about the portal, don't you?" Well, I do too. Then he starts saying this about Wasp's lair. Enter if you. I smash the book on his head. He immediately falls unconscious. What should I do with him? I would love to say to do nothing more than to throw him out of this vessel, but he said that he knew the spell, so he could easily go back to the Wasp's lair as soon as he returns to his senses. And then he would cause trouble for someone again. Also, I think that the Aqua Horse Queen might want him at the palace to question him about the wasp. I reluctantly move him to the back of the vessel. The Aqua Horse Palace, 3 minutes. The vessel talks. Good. I was starting to think that I missed my stop. The time durations must be different in the Wasp's lair, because I was definitely gone for over 22 minutes. Anyways, I sit quietly for the rest of the ride. When I reached the palace, Nikki and Evelyn looked thoroughly relieved. We thought you were toast, Alora, especially when that man came in, Nikki exclaims. Wait, how did you know about that? I ask. Evelyn waves the glasses in my face. With these, they'll really be useful. Now's not the time for a reunion, says Queen Mist. You need to go to the wishing tree now, remember? The tunnel is right here. She points to a tunnel, which is almost hidden. Then let's go, I say, and walk over to the tunnel. Evelyn and Nikki try to follow me, but the Queen stops them. You're allowed to go inside the tunnel only when you complete the maze. Alora, go ahead, she commands. I go into the tunnel all alone, not knowing what to expect. The tunnel is, surprisingly, lit. It looks like the light is coming from tiny glow worms. All of them are pink or blue. The tunnel stretches on, and soon I lose track of time. Eventually, I reach a cave. It's tiny. I can cross it in 3 strides. There's a chair and a table, but that's it. Where is the wishing tree? Sit down. A voice appears from nowhere. The next thing I know, a raven is sitting on the table. I'm the one who will decide if you should be allowed to go to the wishing tree, the raven says. A squirrel flutters in front of me. Answer these questions correctly and honestly. If your answers are true and good, you will be allowed to enter the garden in which the tree resides, he says, and then vanishes into thin air. I follow his instructions and read the scroll. There are only 2 questions, and they are very easy to answer. The first question is, why do you need your wish? And the second question is, state your wish word by word without any loopholes. I need a wish to stop the wasp. I write the answer to my first question. So the second question is a bit harder. I still haven't been able to come up with a foolproof phrase that does not have any loopholes in it. I think for a minute and then my brain just ignites. Aha! I quickly write down my answer. Please have the wasp return to Ogly, never let him escape again, seize his mind-controlling powers, and release all the creatures who are under his control so that they can return to their normal lives. After I'm done writing that, the raven reappears. I could take you to the wishing tree, he says. Your answers are good and true, especially the details around the wasp. The last line had a hint of sarcasm in it, so slight that only a few people could pick it up. I wonder why he was being so sarcastic. Maybe he thinks even the wishing tree is not strong enough to stop the wasp. I will prove him wrong. I follow him to the darkest part of the cave. The raven mutters a purja, and the stone slides away. It opens up into another tunnel. The tunnel is dark and seems like one from a horror movie. On the sides of the tunnel, rocks jaggedly stick out. I expected this tunnel to be full of lights, as it's the path to the wishing tree, but it's so dark I cannot even see a foot in front of me. I have a feeling that I'm being led into a trap. Shouldn't the wishing tree be outdoors in a beautiful garden, under blue sky with fresh air? But if it was, I would have seen some light ahead of me. It is not nighttime yet, I hope. My anxious thoughts increase as we reach the end of the tunnel. It's a dead end. Where's the wishing tree? I ask nervously. It doesn't matter, the raven says dismissively with a cunning smile. What do you mean? I ask, confused. Do you know who I am? Yes, you're the raven who tests the creatures before allowing them to head to the tree, I reply. Well, let me give you a clue. I took control of the raven. Can you guess now? No, I answer, trying to stay calm. I look at the raven's eyes. They're red. Oh no, oh no, oh no. How disappointing. You don't remember who knocked on your door that fateful day and took control of your parents? The raven chuckles. No, it cannot be. A feeling of dread washes over me. The wasp. He controlled my parents, and now he's going to do the same to me. Did Queen Mist know that the wasp was waiting for me here? Should I trust her? Are she and the wasp conspiring together? Is the wishing tree even here? A bunch of questions are swarming through my mind when I see a black hooded figure walk into the tunnel. The wasp. The actual wasp. Go back to my lair, the wasp orders the raven. I am still shocked as the raven flies away. The wasp turns around. You get it now, don't you? I know the secret passage to the wishing tree. That's how I'm here. Now listen carefully. You'll soon become one of my many minions. But if you don't want that to happen, you just have to do one thing for me, and then I'll let you go, he says arrogantly. I try to reach out for a stalactite that's protruding from the ceiling. I want to smash him with it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to reach it. I nearly miss his next words. All you have to do is ask the wishing tree to fulfill my wish. And don't even think about asking your wish, because I will be watching you very closely, he says, canceling out that option. Why does he need me to ask for his wish? Why can't he ask it himself? Weird creature. Well, I'm not going to help him fulfill his wish, whatever it is. So I shout back to him, Never! The wasp's face hardens. Very well, he nearly screams. You will be an example of what happens to the people who disobey me. No one will ever dare to oppose me after they see the consequences that you faced. He snaps his fingers and instantly chains wind around me, covering me up so tight I can hardly breathe. Another snap, and a small flicker of fire rolls along the chains, burning them. The fire will burn you as well as the chains, the wasp says haughtily, as if he's the most powerful creature in the world, which he probably is, other than the council members. Meanwhile, I will ask the tree to fulfill my wish myself. Who knows? I might even be back in time to see you slowly burn. He leaves through another hidden tunnel forking out of this one. I'm left dumbstruck. I knew the risks were pretty high on this journey, but I never imagined that I would die. Maybe I was too naive, but I thought the worst possible outcome would be being controlled by the wasp. I let my guard down because I thought nothing horrible would happen at this last stage when I was so near to the wishing tree. But I should have learned to always be on guard, especially after Honeywing got so badly wounded by the cloud people. Well, there's nothing I can do now except hope for some miracle. The fire catches the chains on my left hand, one of my most exposed body parts. I try to get my hand as far from the fire as possible. The fire melts the chains. I look down at my hand and realize that the chains are completely melted. Instantly, I think of a plan to escape now that my hand is free. Maybe if I can reach that stalactite, I could break the rest of the chains with it. I get on my tippy toes and grab the stalactite, but it's too strong. I cannot break it. I pull harder and the stalactite wobbles. Then I pull it as hard as I can with all of my strength, and the stalactite slips into my hand. I quickly cut the chains with it. It easily breaks through them. Funny, the wasp should have tried a little harder to make sure I didn't escape. Maybe he's so arrogant that he thought I would give in. I quickly rushed through the hidden tunnel, hoping not to run into the wasp. It would be complete chaos if I did. Who knows what the wasp's wish is? The tunnel is short and opens up into a vast glass dome. I'm sure the glass dome has protective spell shields, or else evil creatures would easily break through the glass. Straight in front of me, there's a sign saying, Wishing tree, this way, and an arrow pointing left. So this is the tunnel so this tunnel does lead to the tree. I guess Queen Mist was indeed saying the truth. She must not have known about the Wasp's plan to show up here. Up ahead, I see the Wasp on his way to the tree. I silently follow him, making sure that I'm not seen. And finally, I get a glimpse of Chapter 20, the tree. The wishing tree! It's gigantic. Even if my arms grew 10 times longer, they would have gone halfway around the tree. It's the only tree here in the garden without leaves. In the center of the tree, there's a golden light emitting from it within the trunk. There's a tiny inscription on it. I tiptoe closer to read it, without making any noise. The wishing tree is the only one of its kind. There are tunnels from all across the planet leading to it, although the most popular is the one from the Aqua Horse Palace. The wishing tree has existed since the dawn of time, although very few living beings have been fortunate enough to see it. It used to reside in the fairy kingdom, but after Vain Zane used it for his evil plans, which led to the demise of many fairies, the tree was moved to the kingdom of spirits. It is extremely difficult to get to the wishing tree, never mind the spirits take. In fact, no one came for a wish even once in the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries. The wishing tree grants only one wish to a creature in its lifetime. That is why the Wasp wanted me to request his wish. He wanted to save his wish for another time. I go as close as I can without alerting the Wasp. He's sitting at the base of the wishing tree, doing apparently nothing. He's not even making his wish. I wonder why. Works out well for me, though. This could be the perfect time for me to fulfill my wish. I murmur under my breath, please have the Wasp return to Ogly, never let him escape again, seize his mind-controlling powers, and release all the creatures who are under his control, so that they can return to their normal lives. I wait for something to happen. Maybe the Wasp disappearing with a shout of sparkles or a big boom? But nothing happens. The Wasp is still there, sitting quietly at the base of the tree. He mutters something like a breer, and in a blink, the branches surround the Wasp, tangling him until he is covered completely. He's out of sight. How? Then I notice a small part of the inscription on the tree, that it's covered in ivy. Seems someone deliberately did that to cover up the rest of the writing. Probably the Wasp. I clear away the ivy and read the remaining words. To fulfill your wish, you must do all the following in sequence. Sit at the base of the tree for a minimum of 3 minutes. Once you have done that, say the word "abrir." Wait for the branches of the tree to entangle you, and it will take you to the heart of the tree, where all the magic resides. Speak aloud your wish and watch it be fulfilled. I immediately follow the instructions. I sit down on the base of the tree and start counting by the seconds. Once I'm sure that my 3 minutes are up, I say "abrir" to the tree, wondering what will happen. The branches instantly start swirling around me so tightly that I wonder if this is a trap set by the Wasp. It pulls me closer and closer. Suddenly, I'm pulled straight into the wishing tree, and seconds later, the world is dark. I feel strangely calm and terrified at the same time, like when a person is on fire, but was expecting it. I'm in the swirling cyclone, both inside and outside. Cyclone is pulling me towards the center of the trunk. What happens when someone's caught in a cyclone? Normally I have answers to these sorts of questions, but the only fact that I can remember about cyclones is that they're also called tornadoes. Not particularly helpful. The cyclone stops as soon as it has started. I can't see anything except for a dark silhouette. He's wearing a dark hood. Who is that? The figure turns around. I gasp. I've never seen such a mean smile, which is saying something, as I've met Farmer Dell, the Cloud Kingdom guards, and Handel. How did you escape my amazing trap? The voice is deep and slithery. I thought I dealt with you. What do you mean, dealt with me? I wish my voice wasn't so quivery. I will deal with you after I'm done with my wish. End of story, he growls. He pulls off his hood, and in the dim light, I see the creepy, evil, yellow eyes of the wasp. I need to think fast to stop him. For the sake of the world, I'm too tiny and know nothing about fighting, so tackling him will not work. I have to use my intelligence. I need to buy some time. What wish are you going to make? I ask, stalling. He smiles nastily. 2 convicts, which are my followers, will escape from Oglai, and just in case someone comes to the wishing tree to stop them, they can't be imprisoned by the tree. Did you know that cyclones are also called tornadoes? I ask while my mind's racing. And the best place in the world to see rainbows is in Hawaii? The wasp frowns. Do I look like I care about rainbows? He shouts. Maybe I'll deal with you first. And then he starts a spell. Fine up, Kai. Wait, I interrupt. Did you know that the wishing tree can grant only 1 monster to escape from Oglai? The wasp is not buying it. Well, let's see if your claim is true. Here's my wish. Have 2 monsters escape from Oglai and never have them imprisoned by the wishing tree. The wasp makes his wish to the tree. My trick works. I made him lose focus and now he has loopholes in his wish. According to his wish, only 2 monsters can escape from Oglai, counting him. Now I can save my wish for myself. A mythical voice answers, Very well. The wish will be activated in 2 minutes. Good, says the wasp. Without realizing the trick he is falling into, he turns towards me. Now I should finish that spell for you. Faina Kai Hal Zen. The spell is long. At last he reaches the final word, Hian. I hear a voice inside my head say that the wasp is amazing, the voice urges. Then another voice contradicts. Say that the wasp is dumb. I go with option 2. Makes more sense. The wasp is dumb, I say. The wasp scowls. I can't control you. It must be because you are Cordelia's descendant. But how did I control your parents? He asks, aghast. 2 minutes are up, the voice says, and then the wasp starts fading slowly. What's happening? No! No! This cannot happen to me, the wasp screams as he fades away. When he finally disappears, I asks the voice timidly, What happened to the wasp? Oh, he's an Oglai, the voice says dismissively. He shouldn't have left loopholes in his wish. He asked for 2 monsters to have escaped Oglai, so I did that. I freed up 2 less dangerous monsters and put him back in Oglai. Aha, the wishing tree is smart. He caught the wasp in the trick I lured him into. Do you have a wish? A wish? I ask, surprised. Well, that is what you came for, isn't it? The voice asks. I think the voice comes from the tree itself. Give me some time to think about that, I say. Actually, it's pretty easy. I have 1 wish that might save a lot of lives one day. A wish that is much more important than having my own personal library. I whisper it to the tree, just in case anyone else is hearing. Wish granted, the tree says. I can teleport you to any place with my transportation ring, if you want. Perhaps seeing my confused face, even through the darkness, he explains. My transportation rings can take anyone to anywhere they want to go. It's a shame that it only works once. I make a mental note to tell Evelyn and Nikki about the 2 escaped captives. We have to stop the rest of the evil creatures of Oglai, but now is not the time. I should be happy for a bit. I mean, we stopped the wasp. In fact, even better, I tricked him to imprison himself back with his own wish. And as a bonus, I got myself a wish. I almost missed the wishing tree's next words. Where would you like to go next? The Aqua Horse Palace, I say. A ring comes floating into my hand. I put it on my finger and get swept away into the palace. Epilogue. After spending a few days with the aqua horses, I returned to Queen Elenia's palace, along with Nikki and Evelyn. My parents are also here now. They are relieved from the Wasp's control and are finally back in their own minds. I don't like this place, announces my dad. Too many hearts. Well, we're only staying here for the meeting, says my mom. A meeting about what exactly again? She throws a sharp look at us. You'll see, I say. If my parents are this disgruntled by the palace, they probably would not like what the meeting is about. When they first got here, they were wowed by this new world and everything they saw. But I'm pretty sure they're getting homesick by now, which is making them cranky. Handel comes in. He has forgiven me for stealing his book. The queen wants you to come to the throne room, he says. We all go to the throne room. Queen Elenia is there, along with some friends. Hello, she says. When can we go home? My mom asks bluntly. That's what this meeting is for, Queen Elenia says. The wasp has been caught thanks to these three, but two of his most trusted followers have escaped. We think that your kids should capture him too. But isn't it dangerous? Especially for Nikki, worries my mom. I can do it, you know, says Nikki indignantly. She glares at me and Evelyn. Tell them if it weren't for me, you would probably be doomed, she demands. I nod. That's true. I don't think I'm ever going to tell my parents that I nearly died on this mission. That'd make our chance of being allowed on this new one an absolute zero. Let's vote, my dad suggests. How many of you want to 3 kids, not one of them over 13, to find convicts? His tone makes it very clear that he does not want us to go. Nikki, Evelyn, Queen Elenia, and over half the soldiers and I raise our hands. Fine, says my dad irritably. If it gets too hard, just quit and come back, okay? We agree, and Nikki, Evelyn, and I get ready for our next adventure. It was a beautiful day to play with the foals. Dapplewing and Honeywing had found an island where the Cherrywing herd resided. They settled down in that herd peacefully. It was almost like being back in their old herd. Dapplewing missed the 3 kids, although he wouldn't like to go on a mission that could get Honeywing injured again. Honeywing had made a full recovery and was back to normal. Handel smiled. He had gotten so mad at the girls for a simple misunderstanding. He had thought that Alora was working with the wasp, and hence stole the book that had the spell to enter the wasp's lair. Queen Elenia and Handel had decided to hide the truth about this book. She wanted to protect the friends and family of those who were captured by the wasp. It would be horrid if they tried something impulsive with the spell, hoping to save their loved ones. So, Queen Elenia pretended the girls had stolen the Book of Truth and announced a reward. That is how it interested thousands of people in the kingdom, including Farmer Odell, to look for the book. Well, after the girls defeated the wasp, Handel was sure they were not working for him and had full trust in them to capture the wasp's supporter in their next mission. Handel was also the one who helped teleport Alora's parents to Queen Elenia's palace with his amazing Shurkino. After all, once their parents were out of the wasp's control and returned to their normal lives, they would be worried sick about their girls. Also, the queen thought parents should have a say before their kids were sent for a mission again. Chief relaxed in his chair. Everything was perfect, thanks to the girls. The only unfortunate news was that the 2 loyal followers of the wasp were on the loose, had already started causing troubles for innocent creatures. But it was such a sunny day, you couldn't worry about that much, especially since C had returned after a long time. Now they had the entire council team, fully operational again. Life was good, for now, at least. Fun facts. Fun fact 1. Do you know why he's called the Wasp? That's because he always wears black and yellow. No one knows what he really looks like, so we picture him as a gigantic wasp. He's a hooded figure under a mask. Fact 2. All the countries on the continent of Eudora are named after the people who took down the villains. Like Astara was named after one of the heroes, and all the towns are named after the creatures that helped the heroes on their mission. Like Uni, it's named after the unicorns. Fact 3. The book that Alora stole talked about narwhals. They are distantly related to unicorns, but sadly, they gave up their powers since people were hunting them for their magical horns. Fact 4. Do you know what is the power to condense? Nikki condensed all the memories she wanted to share with Laura inside a mixed ball. Heroes of Imagination Land. The end. So thanks for listening to me reading this book. And if you liked this, please leave a review on Amazon. Anyways, bye for now.